Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of the Team Pollard podcast. I'm your host, Darren Duarte, along with my co-host,
JP,
the CEO of the Team Pollard Boxing Club,
boom,
and also of the Team Pollard podcast. Julian, we often, when we get a chance to talk to professional athletes, current and some former, and one of the reasons why we do that is because we know the effort it took for those people to get where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And also we do it because there are many people who dream of this and only a few achieve that dream.
100%.
What's another reason why you like bringing guests like this on?
I think it gives a glimpse into some personal journeys and some personal stories that might empower some young people, that might inspire some new people, and that might attract some attention for sport, for entrepreneurship, and for just networking and audience. I think all those shares we all have access to. And I preach it to the kids in my program all the time, the people that come to my gym, the people that come to this podcast, that together everyone achieves more. And I think by talking to such a wide variety and collection of people, we're building an audience, we're bridging a network where together everyone will achieve more, and we'll communicate more, share stories more, inspire, educate, and relate.
Well, with that, we're excited and we're happy to have a former NFL player with us today, Kerry Wynn. Kerry, how you doing?
K-Dub is not there yet, but he's on his way.
Okay, because this can be edited.
Or you could see us do that and talk to nobody. You could see that. That could happen.
What are the things?
You could watch this. K-Dub, what's up, baby?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
We can, and we were just talking to you for like 5 minutes. You weren't there. It's cool.
That's what happened.
Zoom can be a little funny when I get on my laptop.
Nah, it wasn't Zoom. To be honest, man, it was probably on our end trying to press the accept button. I don't know who pressed that button. Whoever it is, press it harder.
How you guys doing?
Good, sir. Thank you for taking the time, man.
No problem.
Kerry,
I appreciate you having me.
thanks. Kerry, talk to us about, when you made it to the NFL. Was that a dream come true, or is that just something? Hey, you have the talent, and they asked you to be there, and talk to us about that.
So dating back to growing up in Virginia, I always prayed when I was younger to make it to the NBA. Honestly, my dream was I wanted to get a full scholarship to Duke University, play for Coach K, and then get drafted to the Lakers.
Yep.
But so that was the dream, right? But entering into my senior year of high school, and realizing that I probably wasn't going to be 6'8", and then started to get more looks in football. I was like, all right, let me shift gears a little bit because entering to the senior year, my goal shifted from NBA to just whatever sport's going to give me the best opportunity to get free education. So I realized that football was going to be that for me. So I still played, I didn't, stop playing basketball, but I focused more on football. And then I was, to the grace of God, able to get a scholarship to University of Richmond. And, they're with the basketball dreams right there.
Wow.
Nice.
You still got a jumper?
It depends on the day. There's times I go in there, and I feel like I can't miss. And there's times I go in there, I'm like, yeah, it's been a while.
The big man's touch right there. 15
Kerry,
feet, I'm good, Kerry.
Our CEO of the Pollard podcast and Boxing Club, he didn't play pro, but he played Division I football. But he never liked football, but he wanted to be an NBA star himself.
I did.
He played high school basketball, but like you, football became the scholarship.
Yeah, it became how you put food on the table type of thing, I guess. But I was chasing my dad's shadow, and that was a good time of my life trying to play hoop.
Nice. Kerry, so talk to us about your experience with the teams that you played with, and what have you learned from that experience that you impart in your life now?
All right, so I played 5 years. My first 5 years, I went undrafted to the New York Giants. Played 5 years there. And then I finished up in Cincinnati. And I really only played 2 games. I had a concussion and was put on injured reserve from that. But just football as a whole, and from high school, college on up, and then being fortunate to play in the league. Being around a lot of great guys who taught me a lot about the game of football and just life in general. There are a lot of people that I look up to. I'm the kind of person that when I see people having success, I like to gravitate towards those kind of people and kind of like pick their brain on how they are where they are. And a common trend that I noticed from some of the older guys in the league that and everybody's journey, everybody's story in the NFL is a little different. You have first round guys playing 5-6 years in, then you have undrafted guys playing 11, 12, so it all depends. Everybody's story is a little different, but one thing was pretty common with all the guys, doing the work, putting the work, being the first guy in the building, the last guy out, being coachable. And that translates to, just life in general, outside of football, outside of the field.
100%, man. Where's the live by? Where's the live by? You gotta be in the, I talk to people a lot about being in the company you want to keep and having what you see in your life reflected back at you. So people that are successful, like you're saying, seek them out, be around them, find mentors, read broadly. I encourage everyone to step up their circle so that they can achieve more and share more.
It's always like if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room, right?
Right. Each one teach one, baby.
What was your exciting moment, you think? Most exciting moment, if you had to pick one. I know I'm pinpointing you down on that.
You know what? I'm gonna name 2. The first one, it was my second year. It was my first start against the Redskins Thursday night. I'm from Virginia, so when you're from Virginia, you either go for the Redskins, which is the closest team, or the Cowboys, which for whatever reason everybody likes, right? So it was either or, and I tried to go against the grain. I was a Bronco fan growing up, but that game Thursday night, I knew that a lot of my boys were watching back home. A lot of people from my area. So being the first start, and then I ended up having a really good game. I got a game ball. That game when we won. So but I was going against Trent Williams, and they put me on his side, and I was pretty good in the run. And there was one play I remember I had against him. It was a TFL. He came base block. It's one of those textbook, perfect hand placement. Now, don't get me wrong, he got me a couple of times in that game too. I got to be honest, but that play there, first quarter, first drive, getting that TFL and just being so hyped. I just remember that like it was yesterday.
Man, I'm watching you do it now. I'm envisioning the whole thing, walk by walk, baby. I'm pumped in my seat. I had to jump up.
It's funny. I watched that play the next day, and I recorded it, and then I put it in a slow mo. And I've probably seen that thing 1,000 times. That clip 1,000 times.
So good.
It's a 5-second clip, but in the slow mo, it's 30 seconds. So.
Can we get that clip?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it.
Yeah.
And if my memory serves me right, in one of those stories, I think they interviewed you on the sidelines on national TV. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe that was my 5th year against the what game was that? The Texans. I had a good game that game too.
That's right. It was against the Texans. That's right. It was against the Texans. But they obviously you played so well in that game, so they have him on the sidelines.
God.
Now they pick out the best player that had an impact on that particular game.
And you got the game ball that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's a big moment. I like it.
And then the second one, right? So I forgot all about that one. That one ranks up there too.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was my first playoff game with the Giants against Green Bay. So being from small town guy, never made it to the playoffs in high school, never made it to the playoffs in college. So
really?
My first playoff experience being at Lambeau, you can't make that up. It was just you're walking out there and the crowd. It was cold now.
I know
it was cold.
Well,
but that was an experience.
So you just got to dream that big. You got to dream because if you don't make it in the high school states, you might go in the Lambo. Right?
Right.
I can't
I
make.
had it all planned out.
Yes, you did.
I was like, it's cool. We're not going to make the playoffs now, but y'all watch in a couple of years, and I'm gonna figure this out. Y'all can watch me in Lambo.
Yeah, dog. Yeah. I like that. That's a great story. So, with all those high moments, man, I hate to even ask, but what was your most disappointing moment in the game?
You know what? The most disappointing moment was my last play. So I played 6 years. I had 5 concussions in 6 years. Honestly, I may have had more, but it was 5 hits that I knew, like, okay, this is a little different, right? You know, you seeing multiple people. There's 11 guys you're going against, and there was more than 11 guys on the field. When you're looking at them, you know something's wrong, right?
Yeah, man.
So I was in Cincinnati, the second game of the season, and I hit the guy pretty good, but you know, I fell back, and when I got up, I knew, you know, it was concussion, and
haven't been there.
Some told me like that was the last play I was gonna play.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, but everything works out, you know. That was in God's plan, you know, and everything happens for a reason.
Sounds like the journey was wonderful in itself, man. But I get what you're saying. You makes it as an athlete in any sport, especially these violent sports. There's such a commitment you make with your body, mind, body, and spirit, right? Like you put you out there. So I always tell people, these guys earn it. These guys live it. It's harder than people know to be on an elite level, on any level. And to get it to where you done with it, man, I commend you. And I hate that maybe you had to go out on concussion, but hearing your story, hearing some of the way you've championed through the league, man, kudos to you, big dog.
I appreciate it. Yeah, one thing I feel like, you know, my success first and foremost was from, you know, a lot of things going the right way, and, you know, God just paving the path for me. And then obviously working hard, but there was never a day that I walked into any NFL facility where I took it for granted.
100%. Every day could be the last day. You got to play it like that.
Exactly.
You know, I always, to add to that, man, not to jump all over you, but I remember saying, I was on the field the other day training with some of the athletes. We do some sports performance at Team Pollard, and the football guys were asking me some questions, and we're just, you know, doing the guy talk, doing the locker room. My goal is to be in the ultimate locker room for the rest of my life. So that's at Team Pollard. We're having the United Nations every day, all walks of color, but all walks of love, pride, and mentorship, and teamwork, and all that. So anyway, that's what exists in our bubble. And we're talking, and I honestly looked at the guys, and I was like, well, what I can say about my career, one of the proudest things I did, and I got to do some cool things, but I never looked back with regret that I took a rep off or took a practice off. Mm-hmm. I think everybody that played next to me or practiced next to me just saw that I went all out, and I did what I could with my time. So I don't know. I always felt like that you talking about going into a locker room and knowing that you're going to give it all every time, that hit home for me, because I never walked out of a locker room or a field or a practice or a game thinking otherwise of myself either. Like, I played that game. I practiced that day. I was hitting that day. You know, I lived every rep, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, like you said, when you look back, you have no regrets.
Yeah. You gotta, it was too hard to make it. When I got to college, I saw how competitive it was. And luckily I was bred at I went to high school in Bloomfield, Connecticut, home of the Warhawks. And I felt like that program prepared these young men, including myself, for like such a tireless work ethic and an execution of like just nonstop passion. Man, I played with another giant. I don't think you played with Dave Tyree, but he was a guy who lived like that. And if you two crossed that locker room and had that same mantra, you guys would be great friends. I don't know if have you ever met Dave Tyree?
Oh yeah. So he was I forget the exact title he had with the Giants, but he was there all 5 years I was there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Dave's a great leader, man. Great guy to be around. Great energy guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember a story of us running what they call it when you run sideline to sideline, the ladder drills on football. You know what I'm talking about?
That's not suicides. It's the gassers.
Yeah, but the sideline gasser. And we're lining up one day, and I noticed that Dave's in the line next to me. So I'm like, yo, I'm running with the receivers this rep.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, if you want it, you're not allowed to slow down. Man, that dude was running top speed. Every gasser, K-Dub, a gasser?
Yeah.
Top speed, a gasser?
Right.
You've run a gasser. Some people haven't run a gasser. Anybody who hears this and said a top speed gasser, you wasn't running it like Dave Tyree was. I tried my damnedest to keep up, man. I may have passed out that day, but I didn't quit.
Right, like it's like a strategy to it. So you start off the first 15, and then you cruise, not cruise, but 3/4 speed. And then when you hit that line, you get that that burst a little bit, and then you can cruise through and beat the time.
Yeah, you're so fatigued, your legs are burnt. It's just no way out of a gasser. They just are what they are. But I thought that was a cool story, man, and something that I always cherished. I just remember looking eye to eye with Dave and being like, we're gonna lock in on this rep.
There's another cool story. Speaking of cool stories, that we found with you, Kerry, and it goes back to, I think it was back when you were in public school in Virginia. So you were in part of a contest, an academic contest that explored civil rights and Black history. And I guess there was a contest that you won. Am I correct?
Yep. So it was, I was in 5th grade. It was a Black history contest. And it was, I believe it was from elementary all the way up to the high school kids.
And then later on in life, you found out that they no longer offered that. And tell us what you did.
Right. So I think when I was in 5th grade is when I did it. And I always thought that I won the contest, right? And then my mom reminded me, she's like, no, it's an 8-way tie. And we went back and forth for a couple of years. And then she recently showed me that it was an 8-way tie. So I respect, mom's always right. What can you say?
8-way.
But the lady, it was an older lady who ran the contest, and I think she got sick and they stopped it. So I think it was 3 years ago. So I started the foundation recently, to give back to the kids and provide scholarships for the seniors in the high school that I go to, Louisa County High School. And an idea that I had talking with family was to bring that contest back, because for a long time, ever since I was from 5th grade until 3 years ago, they didn't have the competition. So I was like, what better way to with everything going on in society, to bring that back. And the first year I did it, I had 100 questions. And that's how it was when I did it. It was 100 questions. And I was amazed. We had 12 finalists. I was amazed that after through the 100 questions, there were still like 8 people.
Wow.
And they looked at me like, what now? I'm like, we gotta figure this out. but it's just like, and everything from Black, white, Asian, up there, and just learning about Black history is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. That's dope. And then you can share that knowledge across every color, creed. That's what's up.
And also, Kerry, the fact that you kept those home connections, wanted to do that, bring the academic contest back, but also you kept the home connections because I think for another reason you wanted people to remember where you came from, right?
Exactly. So Louisa County, Virginia, everywhere I go, I always say it, because when I was in college, going undrafted and signing with the team, there was so much love that I got from the hometown, and all throughout my career, every time I went home, little kids coming up, family, parents coming up, and you realize that it's more than just you. It's more than just a name on your back. You represent so much more. You represent your family. You represent, the community you came from, and they showed me so much love. So I always try to make sure that when I'm out in New York, in the city, it's very easy to get, sidetracked and get into some stuff. I always try to make sure that I represented my family and my community the way I was supposed to.
Oh, no question. And Julian, you wanted to bring up the other point about having the connections back home? Because there was a guy way back before my time But I'm not saying he didn't do that. But when Joe Namath went to New York Jets, he was such a, here's a big city guy coming from, I think, a small. I want to say, I mean, I can't exactly remember where, but he's from a place that was probably considered the country, if you will. I don't know though how much at that particular time he gave back, and maybe he did. Maybe we need some research on that. But the fact that here we are, the largest city in America, one of the most important cities in the world. That's gonna be big for a young kid coming to New York City. If you put yourself in that age, the age you are, right? You go to New York City,
100%.
playing under the lights.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that New York City media, that the New York media is not kind, right, Kerry?
No, not at all. not at all. And me, like my approach to the media, even when I have a good game, I was always very, I want to say quiet, but I never want to give them something they can run off with. Because like you look at the guys, listen to interviews, and you say one thing wrong and they run off with it. So everybody always thought like, you're so quiet. I'm like, I'm not quiet. I'm just not going to give you what you want to hear to write that story you want to write.
You never took the bait.
Yeah.
Never. Exactly.
Then I know they throw a lot of bait at you guys.
All the time. Yeah. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about this move? I'm not giving you that. And then one reporter tried to tell me one time, it's off the record. I'm like, I see the recorder right there. What are you saying? This is not off the record.
Luckily in boxing, they encourage that. So people are like, man, I'm going to smack this dude.
Right.
Boxing is all about that. What can you say on here? Let me tell you something. Pull up a chair. I got plenty to say.
Tell us about the scholarship program that you have. Do you have the first winner now?
Yeah, so it's actually my third year doing it. So 3 years ago, I came up with the Kerry, Wynn, Why Not Me Foundation. And the reason why not me, I was like, what I always thought about is like, what, if I can get through college, make it in the NFL from a small town, single parent, like why can't the next guy do it?
Right.
Now it wasn't easy. I had to work my tail off to get there. But if you do that, I don't see a reason why the next person can't do it and the next person can't do it. So that was behind the name of the scholarship. And my goal was to help bridge the gap from, high school to college. And every year I've been giving out scholarships. My goal was to one day be able to give, I don't know, full scholarship. That's pretty tough, especially nowadays. But, I'll try to every year try to give more and more if possible. Lord willing.
Now, do you raise money for the scholarship? Do you have fundraisers?
Yeah, so, there's a few events that I've done. What I started to do, because being in New York, being in New Jersey, I realized it's so easy to make money off the field. I can go somewhere for 2 hours and make a couple $1,000s. So what I would usually do, and I never passed up anything. If somebody wants me to go somewhere for $500, boom, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like I'm never too tired to do that because. I remember when I was in college working, trying to, get some for some food. So, and what I would do with the money every time I do an event, that would just pay the rent for that month. But what I decided to do is like, what, from now on, all the money I make off the field, I'm gonna put into this foundation. And that's how I would, raise money for the scholarships.
Wow, that's dope, man.
Wow.
Digging it hard for these kids, bro. That's the kind of stuff that changes a community.
But I feel like when you put in situations like it's your duty to give back, especially a community where they show so much love and support to you.
That's a great point, sir.
Yeah, to whom much is given, much is expected. It looks like Kerry, you helping out the folks back at home.
Yeah, man.
You brought up something though, Kerry, that you kind of brought it up, but it's one thing we have not touched on with a former or current professional athlete. You may have heard in the news recently that they're opening up things for college players to be able to make money off their name and off their likeness, whereas the NCAA didn't used to allow that. What's your take on that? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Because the way I look at it is you got people making, or you got schools making millions and millions of dollars off the backs of kids. And yeah, they're getting full scholarships. I had a buddy I was going back and forth. He's like, we're getting a full scholarship. I'm like, okay, and? What are you saying about that?
I was saying, K-Dub, no, I'm in to feed that what you're about to lead into. You work for that scholarship. It's not. It ain't free. Like, yeah, you get paid they pay for your education, but the work on the field, the in between, the lack of downtime, the commitment you put into it, you would almost think you're there for the sport more than you are for your academics. They get a lot of your time out of you. So yeah, give the kid a bone, man. Like, he earned it.
This is what I understand how, and I'm a Duke fan. I'm a diehard Duke fan. Coach K, I love him to death. You see him on commercials. You see Saban on commercials.
For those who don't,
NCAA rules.
Duke basketball coach a long time. A lot of people do know that, but there are some people who may not know. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's okay.
Coach Mike Krzyzewski. But yeah, you see those guys on commercials, and obviously they're making money for it. Why can't the athletes? Right. Now, I do believe it's going to get a little crazy. Like, people are going to really be getting paid.
No, man. That part.
People are going to really be getting paid.
But I do know that there's plenty to go around, and if the kids are a big part of why the money is being generated, there's no reason it shouldn't be shared with them. Everyone else, you just said, is getting paid around these kids. Schools are getting updated. Tuitions are going up. With all these factors, it's hard to believe that there isn't something to make sure a kid has lunch money.
Right.
A couple dollars here and there. I hope it doesn't get crazy and out of control. I can't speak for it.
Well, I think as of now, tell me if I think they're saying a player can make money off his image, off his likeness. I don't think the school is necessarily going to pay them a salary.
Right.
At least we're not there.
We're just saying, like, the marketing capability of these athletes is like, now that social media is a thing. Who knows who's going to latch onto these kids and how much they actually make? It's going to be crazy.
When I say crazy, I mean crazy in a good way. Like, kids are going to be getting paid a crazy amount of money, which I'm excited for it, because there's a lot of guys that, you're one injury away from your senior year not making it and getting a shot. So you put your blood, sweat, and tears and really made so much money for your program, for your school, and for all these, television, all the TV channels, networks. But then you end up moving back home and working, and whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And all that millions was put in somebody else's pocket.
Kerry, that was a tough part for me in college football too. Because if you're pulled out of a community and you don't have a real plan, and then they coach you how to be or they the student athlete becomes a great football player, and maybe he got some coursework in. If you aren't paying attention. Luckily, I dug in, and my coach was on board with making sure guys were student athletes alongside of it. But I can remember times with having to change my course schedule because it conflicted with practice. That always kind of bothered me. Change my major, that definitely bothered me. You just couldn't get all the capabilities you need, or you didn't have access to everything you needed to be a full-fledged student like another student, because football took up your time. And then
let's be honest too. They don't prepare you, right? These academic advisors, their job is to make sure you're eligible to play on the field. They don't prepare you for life after football.
Right. So going back to your community, if you was whatever you didn't have before you got back.
So let me ask you guys this, because you bring up a good point. And I know we're playing, hindsight 2020, but knowing what you know now, being a college athlete, even though those academic advisors are working for the school, knowing what you two know now, what would you have done differently playing college ball that may have bucked the system with them? Or would you have bucked the system knowing what you know now?
Kerry, do you want to go first? I have a great answer for this.
I'm gonna let you go first, because I really don't know that I would have done anything differently. Because I was a history major, but then again, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I'm out of school and around people, meeting people in the city and realizing what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 20 years old. No idea. So I put all my eggs in this basket of making it to the NFL because I had no plan B.
I'm glad you made it out.
I'm glad you made that. I'm glad you made that. We always preach, have a plan B. But Kerry, luckily you I know
mean,
you played
Plan
for a
B
few
can
years.
suck sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah.
My thing was, and Kerry, you can probably speak to it too, but coming from a single parent home, what I would have done differently is help my mom with educating what was going on. Like there was no other parent or any other background to like bounce off of.
Or help me, let me
Or
know.
help me, yeah. Or like, how do we speak up for this?
Because you told me a few things. Kerry, this is Julian's my nephew, by the way. I'm also so I went through some of that with him. As his uncle.
So you get up there and you wouldn't have all the answers and know how to maneuver and handle, and then you're getting. I hate to say it, but you might get into a room with a counselor and they may say, "Oh, well, you're gonna finish your major anyway, so you might as well just do this." But that's not what I wasn't even going after that major. I only did that because you said I had to make it to practice on time.
Exactly.
And then if I get out of there, I don't get the job I want because I was studying a major that you needed me to do so that I could be at class on time. That was the part, like for me, that was actually an identifying factor. I was like, man, they're not here for me. They were and they weren't. The other part of that whole story was I didn't have a huge plan for my future once I was done with high school. And the NC State coach, I didn't go to NC State, but he happened to be outside there. And I guess he was watching me. And once someone whispered to me, say, Julian, you could go to school for free. It changed your life. And I found out I was going to get off my mom's dime. My independence was coming and I had a way out and an actual plan that was made up for me. So that's when I grabbed on to football. That was like a way out, so to speak. And then that provided that. So I couldn't be mad at them for that opportunity. Like you wrote, like you said in some of your comments with us, you got to seize opportunities. That was an opportunity. I seized it. Would I have done better in that opportunity? I would have challenged me and my mom to dig into some conversations with that school or any student. I would tell any student athlete this. Make sure that you're going over your coursework, going over your plan with your family, and making sure that they're holding true to that plan. That's the biggest part I can say. And if you can get paid along the way, which they're doing now, help your child do that.
Oh, for
because
sure.
There's no other plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kerry, I don't know if you're ever up this way in New England, but if you do, we'd love for you to stop by the Team Pollard podcast and the Team Pollard Boxing Club. Say hello.
You said in New England?
Right. Stoughton, Massachusetts is where.
Yeah, man. Come by the club sometime. We thank you for being a part of the show today. It was such a great session getting to talk with you, hear some of your stories, and some of the things that made Kerry Wynn who he is and what his organization, the Scholarship Fund, is about.
I appreciate the platform. I got to ask you guys a serious question though.
Absolutely.
Like me being a former Giant, I've taken I've given Brady a few licks. Like, am I welcome in that area?
Luckily, my homie was Dwight Freeney, so I've always had to side with.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dwight was on his high school team and
we
college
school
team.
and college together, so I've always had to root for the guy hitting Brady. Man, it's crazy.
You did get a few. So yeah, you must be one of the. Are you one of the few tackles that get some good hits on Tom Brady?
So I hit him. I'd say 2 or 3 times.
I hit him. That's what's up, man.
Did he ever
I
drop?
never sacked him.
We never sacked him. Okay.
He ain't that fast, Kerry.
Oh, I know. It ain't getting to him. Or it ain't once you there. There's like there's some quarterbacks. I love Eli. Peyton like that. But there's some guys you get close to them. When you're good.
Yeah.
And then you have the the Kaepernicks and the Russell, Wilsons. Like you get close to them, and then they kind of make you look crazy sometimes. So.
Right. Well, Kerry, we're gonna stay in touch with you, man. I got a young son who's playing defensive end. Maybe you can impart some knowledge on him.
And the answer is yes. You're still welcome.
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm waiting still. Okay.
Yeah. Plus, he left us anyway. He's in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
so.
man. He's in Tampa.
Right. I got you.
We all miss him. He's in Tampa. All right, K-Dub, man. Thank you for your time, sir.
It was a pleasure. Talk to you guys soon.
Take care.
All right, peace.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but in LA, on the radio a few times, people would ask me, because I knew I'm from New England, let's talk about Tom Brady. Okay. We believe he's made a pact with the devil. What? Yes. Gorgeous, rich wife, championship,
Right.
great contract.
Right.
I said, well, I don't know. Maybe you'd have to ask
I
him.
don't know, man. Whatever the script was.
No,
Tommy did it for a long time here, man. Now he's doing it again.
Yeah,
It's crazy to think a guy can just move to a new program and make this stuff happen.
Wow, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, we appreciate having Kerry Wynn on. K-Dub was a great guest. We've talked to some great people today here on the Team Pollard podcast, but I think that is all we have for today. So peace, love, passion, patience, and perseverance is the only way to do it, and it's how we do it here.
Until next time,
Peace.
take care.